You're now watching the Mike Missanelli podcast on the BetRivers Network.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Mike Missanelli podcast. This is a late Thursday afternoon podcast as we go into a big weekend of NFL football with the Philadelphia Eagles. And it's, of course, November 30th, 2023. And, of course, this is, I believe, the last day of the month. Let me see if I can go into my rhyme. 30 days have September, April, June, and November. All the rest of 31, except for February. So it is the last day of November today.
I was with my kids and some family the last couple of days, and that rhyme came up, and no one could get through it. That's amazing.
Wow, there you go. In any event, that's the only way I remember the last day of a month, and that rhyme has stuck with me since like kindergarten. So here we go with the podcast. Of course, it's brought to us by BetRivers. Full Eagles-Niners preview is coming at you, but also we're going to rate the NFL pregame shows today, which should be very interesting. I got them all lined up. In fact, I'm going to go to a resource that has already rated them. We're going to see if you agree with them or if I agree with them or if producer Darren agrees with them. Of course, Mike Unleashed today with a couple of very heavy issues, and one of them being the right, really, of players to lash back at verbal abusive fans. We'll get into that whole issue because it happened a couple of times. It happened last week at the Eagles game. It happened this week with Russell Westbrook again on a basketball court with the Los Angeles Clippers. So let's get at it. All right, the Eagles 49ers is just a monster game. Now, we thought last week was big. Well, this is bigger. And it is really shocking to a lot of people that the Eagles are a home dog in this game. I don't know when the last time they were a home dog, but they are a solid home dog in this game. The 49ers come in here as a 3-point favorite. So let's try to figure out why. Are they giving the 49ers too much credit for the revenge factor? Because, listen, let's face it, the 49ers want to eat the Eagles' heart in this game. They felt embarrassed last year. They whined about it. They complained about it. This week, Deebo Samuels is talking trash about it. He's ripping James Bradbury. So the Eagles are a dog. So either they're overvaluing, I'm talking about Vegas now, the revenge angle, or the Eagles are not getting enough respect, which I tend to agree with. The Eagles have just gone about their business while all these other teams in the NFL have sputtered, supposed good teams, and they play an inferior opponent, and they sputter and they lose. The Eagles never lose. The Eagles are impervious to losing to bad teams. Now, this is a good team coming in with a lot of revenge on their mind. So we're going to have to look at this very closely. The 49ers are healthy. The Eagles are banged up. And so that's got to be a factor. Let's go into the machinations of this now. Jalen Hurts. Here's the optimistic part. He ran last week. Now, the first half he didn't run. The first half he looked like he was asleep. But in the second half he galloped. And that is a major factor in this game for Hurts to run against the 49ers defense who's going to pursue him mercifully. 14 for 65, 4.6 yards per carry, and 2 touchdowns for Jalen last week. Most of it in the second half. Now, one of the underrated parts of last week's game was DeAndre Swift. They didn't run the ball in the first half, which is what they normally do. I don't understand this game plan, but you know what? They're 10-1, and I go, whatever, dude. You know, they don't run the ball. All of a sudden, in the second half, they come out running. They have success. You wonder why they don't mix that in a little earlier. But DeAndre Swift had 80 yards and a big 36-yarder, which really cracked that game open for the Eagles. So the running attack is going to be very interesting against the 49ers. Jalen Hurts accounted for 5 scores last week, 3 touchdowns passing, 2 running, and he pulled off one of the most amazing plays that I've ever seen. I've been watching football for a really long time. The play where he scrambles out of the pocket, he moves his receiver to a certain area with his hand, but he launches the perfect throw. There's one thing getting out of the pocket, scrambling. There's one thing getting your receiver in the right position. He made the perfect throw at the back of the end zone, and Zacchaeus outfought a couple of Buffalo Bills for the touchdown. It's a great play. And if you go back this season on what play may have really stood out for the Eagles in their Super Bowl quest, if they get to the Super Bowl, that's going to be one of the plays you look at. Okay, now this is a great defense they're going against. The linebackers are good. The linebackers are pursuing linebackers. We have Fred Warner and Drake Greenlaw. They're holding running backs and quarterbacks to this number, 3.9 yards per carry. That's pretty good. That is in top 10 in the NFL. They also have a great cornerback. And Travarius Ward. Devontae Smith is the hot receiver for the Eagles. A.J. Brown is not. They're probably going to have to get A.J. Brown involved. The 49ers know it. So is it possible that they go with Travarius Ward solely on A.J. Brown in this game? Also, numbers for the pass defense overall for the 49ers. They hold wide receivers to a 77.1 rate. That's fourth in the NFL. They hold them to 6.2 yards per attempt. That is tied for second in the NFL. And they've also accumulated 15 interceptions, and they hold receivers to 9.3 yards per completion, which is also second in the NFL. I don't have to tell you about their front four, but I will. The 49ers roll at you with Nick Bosa, who's been quiet lately, Chase Young on the other side, and in the middle, Eric Armstead and our old friend, Javon Hargrave. Lane Johnson is going to apparently play in this game. So the matchup with Lane and Nick Bosa, he's handled Bosa pretty well in previous games. That's going to be important, whether he's going to be at full strength enough with the groin to match up with Nick Bosa. On the other side, well, I'm not that optimistic. Jordan Mailata has not had a great year, and his Pro Football Focus numbers are not good. He's allowed a lot of quarterback hits. He's been beaten a lot of times. So Chase Young will be going against him. Now, last week, the Niners had 6 sacks on the great Geno and 12 hits on him. So we'll see what happens. The problem with this situation now is the Eagles don't have a tight end. The linebackers are pretty good in tight end coverage. That's going to really hamper the Eagles' overall offensive attack, but they also can pursue. And so Jalen Hurts breaks out of the pocket. Those two linebackers are pretty good at chasing people down, and their secondary is hardy, and they're going to get a pass rush. Now, I would love to sit here and say the Eagles are a monster bargain at +3. But for some reason, I don't feel that this week. There's a reason why the 49ers are a favorite coming into this game, and this might be the game that the Eagles have to maybe give it up. But I've said that in a lot of games, and they managed to win. So hold on to that thought a little bit. They're going to have to get some pressure on Brock Purdy, but Brock Purdy is one of these quarterbacks that gets the ball out of his hands quick. He actually, this is hard to believe, but Brock Purdy is first in the NFL in rating. 112.3. Now, he doesn't do a lot of daring things. He does get the ball out of his hand quick. He doesn't throw the ball a lot, but he's been very efficient. 19 TDs, 6 interceptions, and they will run the ball first primarily with Christian McCaffrey. So 49ers, there's not a lot of things you look at the 49ers and say they're weak in a certain area. They're a solid team. All right. So, Darren, let me bring you in here. This line is really interesting to me. I expected the Eagles to be favored by 1. Instead, the 49ers are favored by 3, and they were favored pretty early in the week by 3. So it's either that they're not getting respected or that Vegas is overreacting to this revenge type of 49ers really want to eat their heart thing. What say you?
Well, first of all, Vegas didn't make the line 3. Vegas made the line San Francisco 1.5, maybe 2. Public money has since pushed it to 3. First of all, what does public money do, Mike? Does it win or does it lose? It loses, Mike.
Public money doesn't push the line up. Sharp money pushes the line up. So the Sharps have come in on this game and thought the 49ers were the play. So this is the only thing that worries me. It's not the public. The public are idiots. Most of the public would bet the Eagles. Most of the public's on the Niners. It's the sharp money that comes in on the 49ers.
Most of the public's on the Niners, I believe. I'm pretty sure of that. For last I looked. Look.
Yeah, but they're idiots. They're not going to push the line up. The sharp money bets the big money that pushes the line up.
Okay. So here's my thought on this particular. First of all, it's preposterous that a team that's 10-1 and it hasn't lost at home in over a calendar year, is going to be a 3-point favorite. 3-point underdog at home to anyone. It is preposterous to me. Second of all, I have been telling you and saying it publicly and screaming it from the mountains all year that this team reminds me so much of those Patriot teams under Brady. Sans of the Super Bowls. But that's how they conduct their business. They win and they win. And the whole league talks about the Miami offense and Kyle Shanahan's pre-snap motion and the Dallas defense and all that can kiss my ass. The Eagles do is they find ways to win.
There it is. He has managed to throw another vulgarity in there. We are now up to 47 straight podcasts with a vulgarity. Go ahead.
What they do is they are well coached. They are the deepest roster in football, and they are going to win differently and sometimes oddly each week. Yes, this is their toughest game of the season, no doubt. Yes, this is the best team they've played in 2 years, no doubt. But why am I going to expect all of a sudden, because they're playing a better, all of a sudden they're definitely going to lose? Like, that's how everybody looks at it. Like, oh, they got to lose this game. They're 10-1. They're going to lose another game. This is the game. And yeah, you know what? If they're going to lose a game, this is probably the game. But I don't believe that.
What are you actually saying here? You're all over the place. What are you saying here? Are you saying the Eagles are the play?
This team is the Patriots. Remember those Patriots teams win twice a season?
I get it. I got it. But what are you saying in this game? Are you saying the Eagles will win this game?
And bet the Eagles. You remember those twice a year when the Patriots would be an underdog, was they would think, oh, this is a bad spot. New England was getting points. What happened every single time? The Patriots won the game. That is this Eagles team. They're going to win on Sunday. Yes, take the points and say thank you. You're going to give me points? I'm 10-1. I haven't lost at home in 13 months, and you're going to give me points?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Listen, this sounds like a little bit of homerish view, and that's okay. I get it. You're disregarding how badly the 49ers want and need this game. If the 49ers lose this game, they kiss away the possibility for a number one seed. The Eagles can lose this game. The 49ers cannot. Plus, they're carrying over all this angst from last year. Now, that could throw them off. That could make them like overly eager where they're going to make mistakes. But they want this game like it's the Super Bowl.
Right.
So
the Eagles don't, right? They don't care about this. Is another game.
The Eagles don't need the game as much as the 49ers need the game. It's a fact.
You're inferring
and that has to go into where the line is right now. So I am not in lockstep with you that the Eagles win this game.
That's fine, but you're inferring that this is just another game to the Eagles, and I'm telling you it's not.
It's not another game, but the other side has much more motivation in this game. The Eagles came off a death march last week. That was up and down survival. Now, for me to expect them to come back with the same kind of effort, I think it's a little unreasonable. Now, like I said, it would not shock me because they're so unflappable, this team. But if you're asking me who has the edge in this game, it's a decided 49er edge.
If you're scared, get a dog. They're winning on Sunday.
Oh, God. There we go. Why don't you put the Eagles hat on right now? You need the Eagles hat on for that spin.
I got my fishing gear on. I got my coastline hat on.
All right. In any event, one other thing on the Eagles. Shaq Leonard, the linebacker, was released. Had a visit with the Eagles yesterday. No signing. I don't know how they feel about Shaq Leonard. Now, they're certainly bare bones at linebacker, and I would do it. But he's like, what are you getting if you get him? Is it a signing that's going to help you? He's a little slower. He's coming back from an injury. He has not been the same this year. He hasn't forced a turnover this year. He's been targeted 22 times in the passing game. He's given up 17 catches for 158 yards. I don't know if right now it's a significant upgrade, but he's probably the best out there. You need a linebacker. I don't know why they wouldn't have signed him. Yeah, obviously, it's too late to sign him for him to make a contribution in this kind of a game, so I don't know what they're going to do with him. All right, that's your Eagles 49ers look at. This is not a game that I like. You can email me and tell me I'm a hater. I look at things very honestly. I weigh all the factors. I don't think this is a game that the Eagles are going to win for many reasons, not the least of which that team is pretty good. and they're on a high right now, and they have revenge and all that stuff. And also, it worries me a little bit. The Eagles are a good team. I believe that they will be in an NFC title game. I don't know whether that game will be in Philly or whether it will be in San Francisco, because my worry is that the Niners win this game and win out. Now, that's going to be tough because they've got the Ravens to play, but the rest of their schedule is not that difficult. So they beat the Ravens, they win this game. The Eagles then lose to the Cowboys next week and lose 2 in a row, because we're all looking at it like, well, they got to lose one game to the Cowboys. Maybe they can sweep the Cowboys. I don't know. Maybe they lose this game and beat the Cowboys. Won't have to worry about anything. But if they lose 2 in a row, then you're talking about the 49ers on a tiebreak, getting that number 1 seed overall and home field advantage to the playoffs, and the Eagles will have to win in San Francisco, which I like less than the Eagles.
They lose two games in 13 years. Now we're worried about back-to-back losses. Carry on.
Do you process logically at all?
Yeah.
Like, is it that outlandish what I'm saying here? That the Eagles would lose to the 49ers and then split with the Cowboys?
So far and away, the best football team in this crap league.
Did you think they would sweep the Cowboys this year?
They won't have to, because they're going to win on Sunday.
Did you think they would sweep the Cowboys?
It's very possible.
It's a simple question.
Yeah, it's possible. Yes.
You didn't think that. There's no way that you thought they were going to sweep the Cowboys. We always look at the schedule and we go, yeah, all right, they're going to win one. They'll sweep everybody else in the division, but they'll probably split with the Cowboys.
There's a big difference between losing the second game to the Cowboys at 11-1 and losing back-to-back games. There's a mile and a half of difference in there.
What's the first team to lose back-to-back games that was any good?
No, but
come on. What are we talking about? The 49ers. Well, the 49ers lost 3 in a row, for crying out loud.
League that was this terrible. This league is bad, Mike.
You should be wearing a sweater that has a big capital H on it today, because you're going Homerville. All right, let's move on to the second part of this football segment here on the Mike Missanelli podcast, brought to us by BetRivers. And don't forget, this is Thursday, so we'll have our selections coming up. I believe that I have 2 of the most insightful college picks ever, and the ones I've ever made. So stay tuned for that. That's coming up. But it's time to rate the pregame shows. I've been trying to do this for a really long time. And let me just say from the start that I don't like any of the pregame shows. All right? So my rating should mean nothing to you. It's the people who consume the pregame shows who really can't wait for the pregame shows. And my God, you got your pick of them. So which network has the best pregame show? Darren, I've got a story in front of me, which is on the Barrett Media website, where you have journalists on there. They're pretty objective, and they're not afraid to criticize. They have the number 1 show being the Fox NFL Sunday show. Kurt Menefee, who's the host, Bradshaw, Jimmy Johnson, Howie Long, Michael Strahan, Rob Gronkowski makes a few appearances. This show apparently is the standard. Jay Glazer is on that as well. I don't like it a little bit. There's only one guy that I like, and he's the guy that gets criticized the most. I like Bradshaw because he doesn't take it as seriously as the Howie Long. It's like pulling your fingernails out of importance with the NFL. Strahan started annoying me because he wears a 3-piece suit every week. What? Get a conventional tie and shirt on, for crying out loud, one day. Jimmy Johnson, I have no care on what he says. And who's the other guy? Who am I missing? Oh,
Menefee's the host.
Who?
Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, Bradshaw gets criticized because, frankly, he's a stumbling, mumbling son of a gun these days. But he doesn't take it as seriously as those other guys are just so. Anyway, I don't like it. Is it the number 1 rated show in your mind?
No. I will. All right, I will tell you who I think is. Do you want me to tell you who I think is by far and away the number 1 show?
All right, I'll tell you where they're rated. Who do you think is the best?
By far and away the only one.
The NFL Network. I got no time for the NFL Network either, but it is rated number 3 on this list. The NFL Network includes Rich Eisen, who annoys me, Steve Mariucci, who annoys me, but just for his hairdo, with the pompadour look, with the Italian pompadour that thrown back there. He annoys me. Kurt Warner, all right, he's all right. He's milquetoast. Michael Irvin, all right, I can take Michael Irvin. And Ian Rappaport is the insider. All right, why do you like this show?
I just it's NFL veterans I respect a little bit. I do like Steve Young, what he has to say. I don't think he goes over the top. Although, here's the thing. I have to put an asterisk here.
Steve Young's not on the show.
Well, he's on the whole broadcast that morning. So, like, there's
I'm talking about the pregame show. The pregame show is Mariucci, Warner, Michael Irvin, Rich Eisen.
All right. So, I know, but Young's like sprinkled in. Like, let me just explain. So, the NFL Network has like a pregame show and a pregame show. So I take elements out of all of that. Now, I will admit, I don't have any pregame show on my TV in the morning. I can't take them. I really can't. Any of them, because every one of them has one or two guys that just want to shout for 40 minutes, and I can't stand it. But I do think that there are guys like I do respect Steve Mariucci, and Steve Young's on the pregame show. I like Steve Young. I like what he has to say. And when Michael Irvin
I do not.
I think it's really smart.
Does this mean that Rich Eisen will not come on the podcast? If we
I like Rich a lot, and those guys I've talked to all of them. They all want to come on, but there's a thing with the NFL Network.
I just got done saying I don't like him. That's why I'm saying, well, now I've ruined my chance of having him on the podcast. All right, number 2.
It's just a matter of we're a different gambling house, so we can have
the NFL today. CBS is ranked number 2. All right, let's go over that. James Brown, Nate Burleson, who's a star. Nate Burleson has figured it out how to do TV. Bill Cowher, I've said this many times before. How long do we go on with the Coach Cowher? He's been out of football for how many years? What are you, a coach? You got it branded on your keister? It's Bill Cowher. Can they call him Bill for one time? Boomer Esiason, he annoyed me. And Phil Simms, who's, unintrusive. Phil Simms. So, what do you think about this?
I pretty much agree with you, and I do love Nate Burleson. I miss him on Good Morning Football on NFL Network.
Okay, now this was the granddaddy of them all, because when it started way back when, football on CBS. Are you old enough to remember the old show and who hosted it?
Jimmy the Greek and
yes,
You're Looking Live. Oh God, I know his name.
Brent Musburger.
Yeah, I remember that.
Jimmy the Greek and Phyllis George.
Right, and Mike Francesa was like the producer of that show.
All right, so there you go. James Brown. Listen, I know he's a venerable broadcaster, and a lot of people like him. He uses the hair paint, and I don't know if there's any need for that in this day and age. It's a very visible, and I've had people confirm this. I have a lot of black friends and associates who have told me the product that he uses. But come on, man, that's all I'm saying. All right, now the other pregame show ranked 4th, and is it Sunday NFL Countdown on ESPN. We'll get your evaluation of this because that's Sam Ponder.
Yeah.
Teddy Bruschi, Randy Moss, Rex Ryan, and Alex Smith.
I like that, Sam.
And the insider being Adam Schefter. Your thoughts?
Yeah, that show does nothing for me. It's very vanilla overall. And that used to be, in my opinion, the standard. That ESPN, NFL game day and prime time, like you just couldn't wait to get ESPN on before and after games, and now it's just disappointing.
Well, I'm a fan of Sam Ponder.
Yeah, as am I. But that's about all the show has going for.
All right. And finally, there's Football Night in America. And so that's Maria Taylor, who's an absolutely talented, beautiful woman, with Tony Dungy. You got to explain the Tony Dungy thing to me. Jason Garrett, Rodney Harrison, Devin McCourty, Chris Sims. Rodney Harrison will say something as hot take every now and then. But Jason Garrett and Tony Dungy, my God, I'm gonna tape them and then play them at night when I can't fall asleep, along with my Ativan. I need that as a supplement. All right. There you go. So there's your pregame shows. We'd love to take your votes on who you like, which pregame show you like the best, which ones you don't like. You can email me at mike@mikemiss.com. All right. That is our football part of the show for today. I want to give congratulations to the St. Joe Hawks. Oh, my God. You know, the Hawk will never die? No. Sometimes the Hawk dies, and a lot the Hawk will die. But not last night, as they demolished Villanova, shockingly, at the Pavilion right down the street over here. St. Joe's pretty good. It's the first time I've seen them. Their guards are really good, and they have a really nice Philly flavor. And I'm looking at the game, and they've got this monster in the middle named Fleming, who went to Camden High. And I see at the game, I see Rick Brunson, the father of Jalen Brunson, of course, who was a Villanova star. He coached this kid Fleming at Camden High. So I texted Rick, and I say, "Oh, what are you doing? Are you there rooting for Nova or there to support your kid?" That kid is going to be a monster. He's a sophomore. He's 6'9" with a long wingspan. Watch out for this kid. His name's Fleming. But their guards are Lynn Greer Jr., and they got a kid from Rome for last year, Xavier Brown. And they got the kid from Maryland, who's their best player, Eric Reynolds. The Hawks are pretty good, Darren.
I love seeing St. Joe's win a game like that, man. I mean, Villanova's always like the big bad wolf when it comes to big five schools.
The sociological holy war. It's like the greasers and the socias from the outsiders, with St. Joe's down the main line and Villanova, on City Line Avenue, and Villanova up the road on the main line. The greasers and the socias. All right, now, of that movie, The Outsiders, how many of the young stars who became bigger movie stars were in The Outsiders? Name Johnny, as many as you can.
Let's see. We got that C. Thomas Howell.
C. Thomas Howell played Pony Boy.
Matt. God, hold on.
Well, who was the father figure, the oldest actor in it?
Oh, my God. That was Swayze. Patrick Swayze.
You're terrible at this, man.
Patrick Swayze.
Patrick Swayze played Daryl. Yep.
Emilio Estevez's brother.
My God, what is wrong with you?
No.
What? What is wrong with you? This guy is one of your favorite actors in one of your favorite movies.
Matt Dillon.
Matt Dillon? You like Matt Dillon because you quote Matt Dillon in that movie where he goes, "Gin, Phil."
Yes, you're right.
The Flamingo Kid.
Matt Dillon. Ralph Macchio.
All right, Ralph Macchio. Rob Lowe. Tommy Cruise was in that. Emilio Estevez. Diane Lane. And Leif Garrett.
Names. There's a lot of big names in that movie. I remember reading the book. I read that book. And I think I was in like 5th grade and read the book. S.E. Hinton is, I think.
Yeah, S.E. Hinton. S.E. Hinton, yes. You know who also is in that? Cam Neely was one of the socias. The Boston Bruin great Cam Neely was in it, and also playing one of the socias, if you can believe it, Flea, the bass player from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Give me another movie that.
See, now those are good trivia questions.
Plays a.
Is Flea in Point Break?
No,
that was Anthony Kiedis was in Point Break. I don't know what Flea was in.
Flea is in Back to the Future 2, where he plays McFly's boss.
Flea has a sinister devil-like look.
Yeah, and he's also the guy, like, you find out later, that's how the accident happens. And he tries to get Marty McFly to do a drag race.
Okay.
And he's the wacko, the same guy.
All right. It is now time for Picks of the Week.
Yeah,
are you ready for Picks of the Week?
Yeah.
Brought to us by BetRivers. Are you up for that?
Yeah,
Picks of the Week?
Let's do it.
Oh, okay. So here we go with Picks of the Week. I cannot believe that these two picks have come to my fruition here, or to my eyeballs. I am shocked, frankly, at this one game. So when I get shocked, when the line shocks me, I respect it. Unlike a lot of dopes out there, Darren being one of them, is not affected by how Vegas sets a line. Let me throw this one at you. Now, the team that is fourth currently in the pecking order of the college football playoffs are the Washington Huskies. Am I right? Or is Washington third? Washington might be third. I think Florida State is fourth.
You're right.
Washington's third. Florida State is fourth. Unless my eyes deceive me, unless this is a mistake, and I need you to check this. Oregon is at Washington this weekend for the Pac-12 championship.
That's correct.
Oregon is a 9.5-point road favorite in the game. Did you see? Is that line accurate?
That's accurate. It is in-season revenge. Washington beat them earlier in the year. I don't know what the final that was. Do you remember what the final was?
I don't, but I don't care. Washington is currently third, and at home, they are a 9.5-point underdog. Well, guess what I'm doing? I'm riding and rolling with Oregon, because if that's not a line that smacks me in the head, I don't know what is. Oregon wins this game by double digits, and I wouldn't have said that unless I saw that line.
Oregon's also playing as a totally different team than they were earlier in the year as well. They're playing so much better.
It's 9.5. I know. Stop it with your analysis of how they're a different team, how it's revenge. It's 9.5. You don't even need to go any further.
Stop it with your football knowledge.
Get that 9.5. It's 9.5. If that's not screaming at you, I don't know what is.
I think Oregon wins and covers as well. I'm just trying to tell you why they're that big a favorite.
All right. Well, I don't need your football analysis here. The line tells me something. I'm going with the line. All right. The second one. Now, Florida State has lost their quarterback. I get it. They're fourth, though. They won without him. Louisville, terrible loss last week. Louisville.
No, you're saying it
At
right.
Florida State.
Louisville. You got to say Louisville.
All right. Well, why are you interrupting my flow? Louisville plus 2.5 at Florida State. And I'm going to tell you right now that Louisville wins the game outright. Upset that knocks Florida State out of the playoffs and puts Penn State at no, Penn State's not good. So there you go. That's two. My pro game will be this one. The Texans, this Bronco hype, I don't believe it. The Texans are at home. They're a 3.5-point favorite. I'm going to ride with the Texans and C.J. Stroud to finally beat the Broncos and cover that 3.5-point spread. All right, what are your picks for this week?
I got two games, both in the pros. One of them we agree on. Yeah, I like the Texans too. I'm not a believer in this Denver team. This is still a team that gave up 70 points 6 weeks ago. Houston wasn't ready for that Jaguars game last week, which was one of my picks. I took the Jags. They won, covered. I think Houston snaps back this week and beats Denver, covers the 3.5. The other game, you already know where I'm going here, Mike. They're 10-1. They haven't lost a home game in 13 months. And you're going to give me 3? The Philadelphia Eagles plus 3 is my other play. Second mortgage play there.
All right. Well, it's a ballsy play. I don't think that's the right play in this game. If anything, I would have passed that game. But it shows a lot of moxie that you're going to go out and take the Eagles. Again, you have been nothing but a homer on this broadcast, so I would expect that you would select the Eagles. All right. That'll close it down for today. Darren likes the Eagles to win the game. I, however, think this is not a really good spot for them. But then last week, I didn't think it was a good spot either. They keep winning and winning. So I hope I'm an idiot. It's just so, the only thing I can figure is the 49ers are so determined to win this game that they make mistakes. And that's what makes the Eagles win at home. But we will find out. Everybody have a great weekend as we go into the weekend of football. I can't wait for this game. This is a big one, and I love those Sunday afternoon games. We had one last week. We're going to have another one. Thanks to the people for BetRivers. Again, get your bets in. BetRivers, my game on Oregon at 9.5 at Washington could be my play to century. That they'll cover that spread. I'm still in wonderment that that's what the line in that game, the third team that's in the playoffs at this point. But anyway, have fun with the BetRivers app. And have a great weekend with your family. Be safe out there. Don't forget, be safe. And don't forget the Eagles post-game show, Jacob Media, with myself, Seth Joyner, Derek Gunn, and Kayla Santiago, and a cast of thousands at Ocean Casino. Make sure you tune in immediately after that game. All right, everybody. Nice talking to you. To spread the word on the Mike Missanelli podcast to your friends and neighbors. And we will catch you Monday right here on BetRivers Mike Missanelli podcast. Bye-bye, everybody.